My name is Nicole. I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date is August 4th, 2020, and my home group is Pickers and Grinners. I'm going to stare at you. I'm going to use you because I'm nervous. I'm not going to do her justice, but I have the privilege of being Jordan's sponsor, and sometimes I feel like we sponsor each other more than I sponsor her. She inspires me every time we meet. She has a full plate always, and she always has a smile on her face. She walks in faith like nobody I've ever met before, and also works this program every day and in everything. She's patient. She would have to be married to Joffrey. She's kind. She's loving. She shows up and she suits up. I've never heard her say no to this program. A lot of people will get up here and talk about, when they first came in and how they were, but it's more important to see the woman that she has become today and the example that she is in this program. I know that I'm not the only female in this program that she inspires. So with that being said, here's Jordan.
Thanks. Hello, my name is Jordan and I'm an alcoholic. Shepard of the Hills is my home group, and my sobriety date is September 5th, 2023. I feel like Nicole made me sound almost too good up here. So basically, I'm going to tell you my story. I grew up here in Taney County, was born here. My mom was a single mom. She raised me and my two brothers. She did not have me biologically. Her niece did as a teenager. And I went home from the hospital with my mom, who I call mom. So she raised me since I was born practically. So yeah, my childhood growing up, I wouldn't say I had the bad childhood, but maybe not a completely normal one either. So there was some alcoholism in my family, nothing too crazy. Growing up, I didn't really have a whole lot of consequences for anything. I did sometimes, but not all the time. Pretty spoiled growing up. My mom bought us, I think she guilty parented a lot and bought my brothers and I anything we wanted, Our first car was whatever car we wanted. We had everything we wanted for Christmas, and the no consequences part kind of played a role later in my life. When I got into middle school, I'd say I start feeling like I didn't fit in really, or I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin, and the kids that I was drawn to were the ones that were getting in trouble, like smoking cigarettes in the bathroom or in detention, and I just, for some reason, was drawn to that crowd of kids, and so that's who I hung out with. And at age 15 was the first time I took a drink, and that night was a school lock-in, and I got blackout drunk, puked everywhere. They had to call my mom to come pick me up, and I remember thinking a couple days later, how could I do that again but not have it turn out that way? Because I remember that ease and comfort I felt when I first started drinking at the beginning of the night before the blackout and all the stuff that I don't remember happening. I wanted to feel that again but not have the same results. So for me, I know from the very first time I put something in my body, I was an alcoholic. Fast forward a little bit, I ended up getting in trouble, legal trouble, got put on probation. I got pregnant with my older son. Wasn't really doing what the probation people wanted me to do. I thought since I was pregnant, they wouldn't send me to jail. That goes back to the no consequences thing. I thought, well, they're not going to put a pregnant chick in jail. Well, that wasn't true. I did end up going to jail. for a few months, and then they sent me to do a 120 treatment in prison. So I had my son in prison. I got out, and he was a few months old. I did pick him up that same day I got out, and I was living in Springfield at the time. I went to an AA meeting that night, got a sponsor that night. The first woman that came up to me and smiled at me and made me feel welcome, that was my sponsor. I worked the steps. I did what she said, asked me to do. I had a little over 3 years of sobriety that time. I mean, I was taking meetings into the rehabs, into the jails. I had sponsees. I was going to conventions, service work, district area, all that stuff. And what had happened was I had this great life, and I mean, I truly was happy and all that, but I started putting other things. It wasn't like sudden, it was just slowly over time. I started putting other things before AA, like dropping the service position because I didn't really have time to do that anymore. Started going to school, so then I had school work plus a young child at home, so I didn't go to as many meetings, and it was just, next thing you know, like the book talks about, my mind had me convinced that maybe I wasn't an alcoholic, that maybe I could drink, that what had happened before was when I was younger, and that maybe that was just a phase and I outgrew it. So I ended up drinking again at 3.5 years of sobriety. Wasn't even 24 hours later that it was full-blown back to my other addictions that I did, and it got bad over the course of like 2 years. Since my life, I had built all these things in my life, it took a couple years for it to all just be lost to where, I'm getting evicted and the cops are there moving all my stuff out into the yard. Didn't have a job. I think I had a car at the time, but I remember that night sleeping in my car with my little boy in like one of those pull-in car washes, slept overnight there. The next morning, something happened and I went to jail. So then my son went and lived with my mom and then ended up going with his dad. So that's 2 years into my relapse. I ended up catching more charges, going back to jail. I stayed incarcerated 2 years that time. Got out. Didn't really stay completely sober. I would say for about 6 months I was sober because I was in the sober living, and then I tried the whole marijuana maintenance thing. Wasn't going to meetings, didn't have a program. Did end up getting my son back living with me. Started drinking again because pot's not enough. Next thing you know, get a DWI, then I get another DWI. Then I'm like, well, I can't drink anymore because I have the blow machine in my car. So then I start doing the other stuff again. And then, life was completely crazy and unmanageable. I was scared because of the fact that I knew by being in prison twice before that DWIs are not something that they screw around with. That's something people go for a long time for. So there was that fear. But it was still not easy to just quit. I remember the year I got sober from March to September, I went to detox 6 times and I just couldn't stop. It's like I wanted to, but then it was so overpowering. I would check in to detox and then I would be trying to figure out how to get alcohol or something in the detox that I wanted to go to on my own because I was done. And it's like, that's freaking crazy. Why are you even there? Just leave. You don't have to be there. But that's how it was. And then finally, I don't really know. The only way I can explain it was God. One day I was again for, the 6th or 7th time decided that I needed to quit. Maybe I needed to just go to rehab, which I'd been to rehabs before. I don't know. I just thought something has to give because this is not working. I was tearing apart just the lives of everyone I came in contact with. My son was scared to even be with me most of the time. I lived out on my mom's property in a trailer right next to her house. Thank God, because when I was passed out on the floor, he would be able to go to my mom's house, so I would wake up and he would be gone, and that was just normal. Car wrecks, just craziness. So I decide I need to go to rehab. That day, somehow I was able to get in, packed my stuff. I still had things I could put in my body to make me feel better that day that I threw away. You know what I mean? Still had money in my bank account, had a good credit score this time, went to rehab with all those things, which wasn't normal for me. Like I said, usually I would have to go to jail and lose everything. So went to rehab in Springfield. When I got there, I realized that getting in so quickly was not normal. A lot of the women in there had to be on a waiting list for months. They had court orders to be in rehab, and they had to wait for months. So the fact that I was able to miraculously just get in that same day, I know was God already working in my life, doing things that I couldn't do or no human person could do, because I guess he knew that I would still be standing here a couple years later and not pick up again. I remember the rehab place I went to was literally just right down the road from the house I would go to and get stuff all the time. I could have walked there, literally. And I don't know why that time was different, because like I said, the 6 other times that same year, I was trying to figure out how I could get fucked up and detox. So anyway, I get out of rehab, finish it. Have the legal stuff still going on. I end up getting, I got pregnant a month after getting out of rehab. Got sentenced to drug court about 6 months into my sobriety journey. My first sponsor, Randy, is in Ozark. You guys might know her. We went through the steps. I finished drug court. That was about a year and a half long. During that time, I was still going to meetings, but not as many. And I knew when I got off drug court that I really needed to dive in deeper to this program, because I was scared. I don't want to go back to that life. So I knew I needed to be of service more. So today I hold a service position at the district level, go to group conscience. I have sponsees. I sponsor women. Life's pretty good today. People can count on me, and say good things about me. The other night, hang on, at the Wednesday meeting the other night, a woman was sharing, and she said something about how she's a good mom today, and made the comment of, I'm nowhere near the mom that Jorden is. And I'm just that really got me. It made me tear up that someone can describe me like that today. You know what I mean? Because I was a piece of shit mom back then. I was not a good mom. So the fact that people or someone said that about me, I was just wow, just the complete difference to who I was then to who I am now because of God in this program. And just having to daily keep at it. I don't get to meetings every day because I do have 2 kids at home, one of them being 1.5, so it's 3 or 4 meetings a week. And a lot of times during the week it's pretty busy. It's come here Monday after work, I'm here a little bit early, go to the meeting, come home, tag, you're it. He leaves, comes to the meeting, I take over. By the time, we're both home together at night, it's kind of late. But that's the way it has to be, for us to both be sober and be good parents and have a good life. I have good personal relationships with people in my life today. Don't get me wrong, there's times where there might be someone that I don't like or I'm pissed off at, but I can work through that and not hold that grudge for too long. Maybe a little bit longer than I should sometimes, but I can say honestly today there's no one that I'm aggravated at. So I can let go of that stuff today. yeah, I just feel like having time in this program before and going back out and knowing the reason why, because it was because I put other things first, and not even like necessarily realizing, oh, I'm putting this before AA. I just thought, well, I don't have time for that. So today I really try very hard to not get in that mindset. There's times where, AA has to come before my kids and my family some nights a week, and then other nights my family has to come first. I have to have that balance to where, I can't neglect my family for AA, but I also can't neglect AA for my family. So finding that balance sometimes can be difficult. I feel like right now I'm in a good spot with it. Thank God, for having a 2-parent household, because if it was just me, I think it would be a lot harder. But yeah, so AA's got to come first. Other good things in my life, I feel like, people that don't know me before that know me now, like they just don't believe it, like my coworker, she's been working with me for about 1.5 years now, so she didn't know me before, and like she'll like look up to me like who I am as a mom. Again, I'll go back to that, and it's just crazy to think about sometimes how people can really see you like that, and it's because of this program. If there's a newcomer that comes into the meeting, I'm like, if I haven't talked to her before the meeting, I'm getting to her first after the meeting. Like, come here, like, let me talk to you, get your number. Like, that's like something I look forward to. Like, the book says, I was gonna read this. It's not out of the first 164 pages, but it is out of Dr. Bob's Nightmare, and it talks about, let me get there. I should have had it bookmarked, but all right. It says, I spend a great deal of time passing on what I learned to others who want and need it badly. I do it for 4 reasons. 1, I have a sense of duty. 2, it's a pleasure. And 3, because in doing so, I am paying my debt to the man who took time to pass it on to me, man or woman. And 4, because every time I do it, I take out a little more insurance for myself against a possible slip. So for me, I know if I am working with a sponsee, that day, and we're in the book doing steps, I know I can guarantee 100% that I am not going to stop and grab a drink that night on the way home. Like, I know 100% I'm not going to. It's not possible to like meet with a sponsee every day, but like it talks about, there's a little insurance. Like, not resting on your laurels, but it gets you through for a little bit, I meat with my sponsor every week. Most weeks we meet together, going through more steps. Yeah, just, I don't know, life's good today. It's not perfect. There's been some, ups and downs for sure. It's not easy being in a relationship or married in sobriety, especially early on. He's got almost 15 years. I have 2 years. So that can be challenging sometimes, but, it works. I went through, when I was pregnant with Jace, I meant to say this before, but I found out that I had hepatitis C, which that comes from doing the other stuff, and thank goodness it's not easily passed on to the baby in the womb, so he didn't have it. I went through treatment on that after I had him, so got cleared of that. But that was one of those things that I picked up on that last time out. Like, it hasn't happened to me yet. That was one of those things, that didn't happen to me because I do this and this. Well, no, it can happen to you, and it can happen again. It's not like a forever cure. So I don't know, I'm just grateful for my life today. Grateful for the people in this program. I remember there was a point in time when I would come into the rooms and be like nervous, and I was actually in this room for a good chunk of the beginning of my sobriety, just so we could kind of have our own separate thing, and because that was, a big part of my story too. Then I got a little further on and moved over to AA because I do like you guys. I like it better. It's a little bit more put together, but yeah, I remember being nervous to just be in there, and I felt like there wasn't many people I could really talk to or connect with, and it's so different now. Now it's Monday nights when I come here before the meeting, I feel like there's not enough time to talk to everybody I want to talk to. It's okay, I want to talk to you. Well, we don't have time, and then I have to get home so then my husband can come to a meeting. So it's just, like the book talks about, the fellowship that grows up about you, and all those great things, and I have to, stay plugged in or stay connected. Otherwise, my brain will start telling me some crazy shit again, or they, maybe they don't really like you, or this or that, just crazy stuff. I can go there really easily, so I have to, stay connected and then have someone I can be vulnerable with. Nicole is just the best because she's super candid, and I feel like anybody who feels like they couldn't tell her something you just can, because she's very approachable. And one of the reasons I did want to brag on you a little bit too, that I wanted you as a sponsor, because I remember when I was coming to these meetings and I wasn't sober, you were kind to me, caring. You had a genuine concern about my well-being at times. You were just super nice and awesome and approachable, and I love you. So I did want to say that about you too. So, but yeah, I'm trying to say more good stuff up here. I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's a good life, and it's pretty simple. Just don't complicate it. Just all those cliche things that we all know and say are the truth. So, but I think I'm finished with that. Congratulations on 20 years. And I will pass.